Hello, hello, hello. It's coffee time again. Well, it's the old pingdemic. It's still going on because you know it's national stupidity. They relax the social distancing rules, but they don't adjust the test and trace sensitivity. And if the government have rushed to exempt 10,000 critical workers from self isolation because there's no food being delivered, and people aren't people aren't out there doing the essential jobs because let's face it, if social distancing isn't a thing anymore, it's gonna trigger a domino effect. So that was a big thing that the government had to do yesterday, and of course this week it's the great getaway for the summer holidays. I reckon everyone is fleeing, scrambling, pingdemic Britain. I'm just borrowing the headlines from the Daily Mail website because it's easier than to actually do any work. Of course, we're going nowhere because we're still in lockdown, permanent lockdown. But down in Cornwall, they've been warning tourists. Oh, you better not come unless you've got all your jabs and you're clear of everything. You know what the Cornish are like; they can be a little bit militant, can't they? But apparently, this is interesting. Google co-founder Larry Page, he had a quite novel way of dealing with the pandemic. He's been living off grid on an isolated island near Fiji. But I suppose if you're a multi-millionaire, you can do that. I just wonder if Sainsbury's delivers out there. Probably not. But yeah, he's off on an island. Wouldn't it be good if we could just all do that? Oh, that'd be something else. Yeah, there's not really much else. There's not really much else going other than we've got the Olympics coming in Japan. I mean, it's already been postponed for a year, so yeah, it could still. They reckon even at the 11th hour they could cancel it. But I don't know. It's going to be a bit of an odd one, and also the time difference because where Tokyo is, I'm not sure when a lot of the events will be taking place. Because it's good when they're this side of the of the world, when it's in Europe and whatnot, and when it's in like America or you know, well, Tokyo, the time difference can be a bit of a problem, watching that. But wish everybody well, and hopefully But the big story is the bikini bottoms. We've had Norway. They've refused their beach handball team have been refusing to wear like the standard kit. I didn't realise it was standard kit. That's an eye opener, And they want to wear something that's a bit more, well, again, I suppose, modest, rather than having their backside on display, and it's understandable. And one of our athletes, and I haven't got her name up, but research done has gone the other way. They said her shorts were too skimpy. She's track and field eventist. So you've got this really weird kind of thing where in the beach volleyball, skimpy athletics not so skimpy, but they do it for well aerodynamics and and freedom of movement. So yeah, it's really a strange thing. But at the end of it, I suppose you should be able to wear exactly what you please as long as you're not scaring the children. So, but yeah, our athlete, um, she said she'd been wearing these shorts for years and no one had ever complained. But there we go. There we go. Mind you, the Tokyo heat is going to be a problem. Already, one Russian archer has collapsed during training rounds. So yeah, they've got a 33-degree heat wave over there. So could be a problem. Could be a problem. In music news, I don't know if you saw the new Paul McCartney video. It's rather clever because his remix album, I think, is released today. Paul McCartney 3 remixed, and they did this very, very clever video where they de-aged him. Obviously, it wasn't him, but they've got somebody to do all the movements, and yeah, they used computer technology to make it look like, I don't know, 1966 Paul McCartney doing all the moves. Slightly modernised his haircut, I think. Not the mop top that he had in the Beatles, but yeah, I think it's really, really cool. So go and check that one out. That's something to watch. Though don't read the comments on the Daily Mail website because everybody hated it. I thought it was good, but And we've got two. This is the top story. We have two stories here that you'll like. We've got two wanker stories. Yes, two wanker stories. First one up is the story of Mohammed Bilal Khan, and he's from Melbourne in Australia, and yeah, he was at St Kilda's festival. And he's got a hobby, most people want to go to gigs, they like watch the bands and maybe get their phones out of it. But Mohammed, he the father of two, who was a senior employee at a finance company where he earned 120 grand a year. He had a hobby where he used to, get his old man out. Yeah, he used to play with himself. And one woman, she only noticed when he ejaculated on her. And you just think, oh, God. These people, I mean, it's absolute vileness. But yeah, he's been... he's been fired and he's been found guilty of committing a series of these offences. But it's good to know his wife is standing by his side. There you go. Isn't that good? You'd be offended, wouldn't you? You'd go, this is disgraceful. I have a serial wanker for a husband. But it's not as bad as this young fellow. Well, he's not young. He's 51. And this is from Germany. And we don't know his name. He's a Japanese fella. He's a single Japanese fella. We don't know his name. We also know he's right-handed, so that's useful to know. But he was he was a wanker as well, and he liked to do it like 7 times a day. Everyone's got to have a hobby, but suddenly one day he got a terrible headache, and he didn't feel too good because he'd wanked so hard, he'd given himself a stroke. Yeah, he'd given himself a subarachnoid hemorrhage. And it usually happens when you do severe physical exercise, I guess it's the sort of thing that weightlifters might get, You think, my God. But his wrists, he's got a right wrist like Arnold Schwarzenegger, apparently. One giant bulging bicep. Unfortunately, he's anonymous, but I'd love to... We want pictures. We want to see this guy. But but yeah, there are nearly 5,000 cases a year in the UK, and it affects men. Well, people, not men. I guess people aged between 45 and 70. But usually it's to do with physical exertion, like heavy lifting, or or even having a bit of the old horizontal pogo. But yeah, very unusual to wank yourself. I mean, there's having a stroke, and there's having a stroke. Because that's my old. I used to do this terrible joke about my Uncle George is in hospital. He had a stroke. The next week, his missus is going to let him have another one. A terrible joke. Terrible joke. But yeah, well, we've nearly done the 10 minutes. But I think we'll call it quits there while we're ahead. Oh, the puns get worse. Is there anybody here? Kaylee's in. Payne's in. Have I played the Record Store albums? Yes. Ronnie's in. Naz is in. He says, now we know why bands tell the crowd to put their hands in the air. Exactly. 7 times a day. I mean, I can't, I just That's dedication. If you want to be a record breaker, yeah. That takes some balls. Just, it's just going around in circles with this. I, I mean, would you admit it? He's gone to hospital. He's obviously had a stroke. But you'd say, "Oh yeah, I was trying to lift the coffee table," or you wouldn't say, "Well, yeah, I'm a serial masturbator." You wouldn't admit to it. You'd make something else up. You were saying you was lifting something heavy, and strangers wouldn't say you want to. Oh God! Oh dear! You wouldn't admit to it, would you? Would you admit to it? But yeah, exactly. What a load of wankers. Talk about the Who's new album. They haven't got a new album. What new album? If you talk about the Who, the album Who, I did that. It's already been done. Go search for it. But there isn't a new Who album. So yeah, that was fun. That was fun. So yeah, that's coffee time then. You want to be an arachnoid breaker? Yeah. You have to hand it to him. Oh, he certainly handed it to him, didn't they? On a plate. But why would you? Your doctors are rolling you in and you go, so, Mr. Smith, do you know what may have caused this? You don't admit to it. You don't. You just don't admit to it, innit? That's every man's fear, innit? Being like dying whilst, with your trousers around your ankles in front of, especially nowadays, it'd be in front of the computer. In the old days, it'd be like with your porn collection surrounding you, but now it'd be in front of the computer with, I don't know, a constantly looping piece of vileness, digital vileness, and they find you, your family finds you like. That's every man's nightmare, isn't it? Oh dear. New Olympic sport, he could be. He definitely got gold, bronze, and silver, didn't he? I don't know. I think it's too rude for Monty Python. Too rude for them. Maybe in one of their movies. They could have done it in one of the movies, but not in the TV show. But yeah, it's just. Again, it goes back to the Darwin Awards things that we was talking about yesterday. I'd love it if he'd actually killed himself. He wanked himself to death. Reminds me of that. Was it? Oh, it's not. No, it's Jam, isn't it? Jam. When they did the Gush, I always get it mixed up with Brass Eye for some reason. Go and look up that sketch, the Gush, which is. Yeah, quite hilarious. Anyway, I finished my coffee and I've been weeping tears of joy at some other unfortunate person's mishap. Bloody hell. But anyway, thank you for watching. We'll do this all again soon. I'm not going to find two stories as good as that, am I? Those were corkers. Not the. I better do a joke. Robert Payne says an Olympic event called the toss. Yeah. He certainly is a tosser, isn't he? Brendan reckons that Marillion could do a concept album about it. Liam says masturbation in moderation is my motto. Yeah, but have you got that in Latin? That'd be a good one. But Coldplay's new album is apparently a concept album. Oh, that's a bit scary, isn't it? It's called Music of the Spheres. It's supposed to be about music from another planet. I'm sure bands have done that before. Anyway, thanks for watching. The coffee's gone. And that means I'm gone, and now I'm going to have to find two more stories like that. I'm never going to do it. Anyway, thanks for watching. There's only one more thing left to say, and that is drink it up.